If you don't know how to send proposals on Upwork, you're never going to land any clients. So in this video, I want to do a full walkthrough where I'm going to send proposals live with you so you can just copy, learn some tips and tricks. A lot of people have been requesting this, so I wanted to make a full video on it. Full transparency, I have a full 2-hour course that you can go watch on my YouTube channel. It's completely free. There's no like sales pitch at the end of it. So just go check that out. Without further ado, let's start sending some proposals. First and foremost, we're going to be on the Upwork page. Now for you, it's going to be different because you're going to pick your skill. So let's just pick one that is easy. So social media manager. Again, if you're doing video editing, development, automation, whatever it may be, just pick your skill, put in the keywords. The first thing I actually want you to do is I want you to head over to advanced search and I want you to go to any of these words, this section right here. I want you to type in www. These jobs are going to be the ones that have URLs. Realistically speaking, this means that you can also find these outside of Upwork, but really these are the ones that have the most context. And I'm going to get into the difference between jobs that have context and don't have context in a little bit later. Jobs that have context like URLs, their Instagram, their website, they're typically the easiest to close. So I want you to focus on these first, okay? You can scroll through. So because we've put www, what's going to happen is we're going to find jobs like, for example, this one where it has reference links, right? So this one has a reference link to Amazon. Or let's look at this one, website and social media. Boom. So they've got their, Instagram, Facebook, and their website. Boom. This is going to be way easier for us to land. And I'll show you why in a second, right? Make a list of these. What you can do is you can just open these in a new window by just clicking at the top here, or you can use, if you're on Mac, Command, or just open it up as a tab like this. Right? Just keep these at the top, okay? So scroll through a bunch of these. Let's actually pick a few just quickly. But actually, you know what? Before we do that, let me actually explain to you what we're looking for. And I think this is really going to be really helpful for you. I like to play a game with all my students to explain this because I think it's easier to understand it in like a game format. When we're looking at potential jobs, let me ask you a question. Do you think the hourly section or the fixed price section, you see how there's like hourly, fixed, do you think that that matters? The answer is no, right? When you make a job on Upwork, it asks you whether you want hourly or fixed, but it doesn't really clearly explain what that means and what you get for that. So it doesn't really matter which one we pick here. What about expert, intermediate, or beginner? Do we think that that matters? Well, it doesn't matter because again, when you put a job out on Upwork as a client, you can pick between beginner, intermediate, or expert. And it really doesn't give you any context on what that means. In a way, one of the best things you can do before you ever send any proposals is actually just go and make a client account on Upwork. You can do that by clicking here, going to settings, and then adding a new client account. If you do that, basically what's going to happen is you can put out a fake job and you can see what it looks like from the client's perspective. And that's going to be really helpful for you. But let's go back. We know hourly and fixed doesn't matter. We know beginner, intermediate, and expert doesn't matter. What about estimated time? What do you think? You getting the pattern now? Estimated time also doesn't matter. Again, it doesn't really show up. What about 30 plus hours or less than 30 hours? Do you think that matters? You're correct. It doesn't matter. What about proposals? The amount of proposals that have been sent. Wrong. Okay, this does kind of matter, and I'll get into it. I'm just trying to trip you up here a little bit, okay? But the only other thing also doesn't matter is this like weird tag section. Don't worry about that either. So in a way, none of this stuff matters. So if I actually F12 this to make this even easier to understand, payment verified doesn't matter. This like scored section doesn't matter. The amount the client has earned doesn't matter. These tags, they don't matter either. I'm just doing this so you can visually see it, right? Because I think this is helpful. In a way, we're kind of only left with a few things here. We're left with the title, the description, and actually let me get rid of this as well, because this also doesn't matter. Get rid of this, get rid of this. Boom. So yeah, again, we're here with the title, the description, the location, and the proposal, and that's it. Now, they used to show the time that it had been posted, which is really helpful too. Now, we can use softwares for that, like UpCat. I've made some other videos about this, but basically you can just download softwares like UpCat. It looks like this, UpCat. Just type into Google UpCat Upwork, and you'll be able to find that. And you can set notifications for new jobs as they come in based on your skills. That makes it really easy because you're 80% more likely to close clients if you're one of the first people to apply. Statistically proven, okay? Title, description, location, and proposal amount. The title and the description, they're really important. The location and the proposal amount, I like to explain this from the perspective of preference, let's say. Typically speaking, the best types of clients are gonna come from like the big five, like America, Canada, the UK, Australia, Dubai, other areas of Europe, and so on. You're typically not going to find the best clients, in full transparency, in places like India, in Pakistan, even in Thailand, like where I'm at right now, some Eastern European places. This is nothing nothing against those places. I love all these places. I love Asia. Like I've been traveling around Asia forever, like 5 years. I love the world, right? Whatever. This isn't some bad thing. It's just that typically speaking, you're not going to find the best clients because there's a different changing culture. And also typically it's going to be a little bit less pay. And that's not what we're looking for. So try and just apply to jobs. The best way I could describe this is, say, for example, you want to send 10 proposals a day and you make a list of 11 jobs that are available and 10 are from the US and one of them's from India. Well, maybe we'll just leave the India one on the side, right? Nothing wrong with that. It's just that we're going to preference the 10 ones that are in America. And it's the same for proposals. If we see there's only 5 to 10 people that have applied a particular job, and then maybe there's a few more that have had like 50 plus people apply, okay, well, maybe we're going to apply to those less of the time because, you know, it's higher competition. And this is also why, again, it's so important for you to get in early. That's a little bit of theory out of the way. So we found a good title. The title basically, all it needs to say is this the job that's relevant? So for a social media manager is relevant. There might be some words for social media management that you don't like the word UGC, like maybe they want you to make content. Maybe you don't want to do that. And you can filter those out in the advanced search section. A good title, like social media manager, and a description. In the description, it's going to give us more context. Again, if we use the www method, we're going to be able to see some links. This brings me on to the idea of context versus no context. So in my opinion, there's 2 types of jobs. There's jobs that have context and jobs that don't have context. What I mean by this is, if a job has context, it has their website, their Instagram, a way for us to look at the platform outside of Upwork. So that would be a job that has context. If they don't have this, even if the description's super long, if they don't have this, we're going to filter this as a job that doesn't have context. And the reason we do this is because there's 2 different types of proposals I want you to send. There's for the ones that don't have context, and I'm going to show you a Loom example in a second, like so you can actually just copy it. If they don't have context, we're going to ask for more context. If they do have context, then we're going to give them a full audit, right? And I'll show you both sides of this. And I'll actually show you, and I'll link in the description of this video, full audit video that I did for social media management. And I closed, I think for like $4,000. It was a while ago, but you can check it out. Let's go first with the ones that don't have context, because 99% of the time, they're not going to have context. If they don't have context, we're going to want to send a personalized Loom video saying something like this. Hey, I saw your job. I would love to work with you, but there's not enough context here for me to give you a full audit. So if you give me some more context, just shoot me a message and I'll be able to give you a full audit, and then maybe we can work together. Something like that. Keep it simple. Now you might be like, well, why would we say that? Why not try and like dissect the whole job post? Most people don't know this, but when you get a reply on Upwork, you get some of the connects back that you spend to apply to the job. So in my opinion, as a business owner and as a freelancer, your goal and my goal is to get as many replies as possible. So by asking for context, you're going to see a very high response rate. You might not close these people, but at the very least, you're going to protect your finances in terms of the connects. So we're going to ask, hey, can I get some more context on this job? And people are usually going to be happy to do that, right? Because they want to hire for the job. So asking them for more context is important. But doing it with a personalized Loom video shows that you're not just being generic. Like if I just said, hey, send me some more context, they're not going to respond to that. But if I send them a personalized Loom video and I say, hey, I need more context on this because I really want to help you and I want to actually give you something for free, which is a full audit, they're going to be like,
yeah, sure. Okay. There's a bit more context.
That's the ones if they don't have context. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to get my editor, overlay an example of me recording it for this video. Okay, editor, now I want you to show example Loom video for the audience who is watching. Hey, I saw your job. I would love to work with you, but there's not enough context here for me to give you a full audit. So if you give me some more context, just shoot me a message and I'll be able to give you a full audit and then maybe we can work together. Okay, so that's an example of a Loom that you should do for clients that don't have context on their job post. Now, for clients that do have context on their job post, we're going to want to give them a full audit. Okay, so a full audit is, for social media management, it's going to be, looking at their social media, looking at their website and giving them some tips and tricks. And I'm going to show in the link in the description, and I won't show it on here because it's quite long, but I'll put the link for it in the description of an example of one of these, right? But we're literally just going to want to do a full audit of anything we can to show them like, oh, we're a professional. And our goal with this Loom is to position us as an expert and to position us in a way that shows them that we know what we're talking about and that we can take this off their hands. People pay for solutions, right? And outcomes. So you don't want to explain to them, yeah, you need to be posted on social media because it's really good. They already know that. That's why they're hiring. We want to say, well, look, I can fully automate the process of doing your social media. If you're an automations expert, you can say, hey, I can fully automate that Google Sheet. If you're a developer, I can say, look, I can build this for you. Whatever that may be. And you could show them other examples, right? Like if you're a developer, for example, you could do a Loom video showing, hey, look, these are some projects I've worked on that are similar to yours. Now I'm looking at your website. I think we could actually, or I'm looking at the scope of your work. I think that maybe we could do it like this. And these are some ideas I have. But look, let's jump on a call and let's have a chat. From there, you can get them into the messages section and actually try and close them. Okay. So those are the two different types of jobs, right? And I'll put both links in the description so that you can see of what these both look like. But let's actually go ahead and click on some of these jobs and actually start applying to them, some of them. So I'm gonna refresh the page here. So if we look at this one, for example, one little tip I want to show you is if you scroll down, it'll only be on the jobs, by the way, that have client history reviews. If you scroll down on here, what you can do is you can actually search for the client's name. Now it's going to be on the first line. The second line is to the freelancer. So that's from the client sending it to the freelancer. But the top line is going to be from the client, right? So as you can see here, the worst team that I've ever worked with in 8 years on Upwork, that's a pretty terrible review. I feel bad for that guy. If I see stuff like that, I typically won't work with people because I'm just like, you have to be pretty vindictive to drop something like that on somebody's profile. That's just my opinion, right? So Sajid, okay, so it looks like, okay, so this is the client to the freelancer. So let's keep going. Masood. Okay, so Masood, that's the first name. We think his name might be Masood. Let's keep going. Let's see if we, Masood. All right, we pretty much know this guy's name is Masood. We can assume, oh yeah, there we go. Again, Masood. All right, so we know this guy's Masood. So when we actually apply for this job, we can say, hey, Masood. I think I'm saying that name right, by the way. If I'm not, then just roast me in the comments. But we know this guy's name is Masood. So we should say, hey, Masood. And then underneath that, we're gonna wanna put something to get them to watch our Loom video. So for example, if I apply to this job, and I'll break this down in a second, this other stuff, but we're gonna say, hey, Masood, I think that's how you spell it. And then we're gonna say, I made you a personalized video on your project. Check it out. Now, if this was a job that has context, we would say, I made you a full audit. It took me a few minutes to make, right? So you could say, so this would be like one that doesn't have context, right? So they'll put the Loom link here, shoot me a message, and let's get started. Again, you can adjust this for yourself. One thing I like to do is I like to say p.s because it's scientifically proven that people will scroll through an entire thing, but they will always read the p.s. So here I like to usually put something that's personalized or something that's funny. So for example, if I think this guy's from like, I don't know, the UAE, I'm like, where in the UAE are you, by the way? Or if he's from America, where in the United States are you, right? Now, if it was a job that has context, then we could say, hey, I made you a full audit on your job. This took me a few minutes to make, and I think you will get a lot of value from it. I know you're getting a lot of DMs, so wanted to send something more real and personalized instead of some ChatGPT, you know, whatever. Here's the link, right? Here's the link. And you can be funny with it. Like, remember, like, people on Upwork, they're busy business owners. They're real people. This is how real entrepreneurs communicate with each other, right? So it's not a big deal for you to do stuff like this. And then also what I would say is when it says here, schedule a rate increase, please guys, just always click never. I can't tell you how many times I've put out jobs on Upwork and people are like, yeah, I want to make sure that I'm getting an extra 5% every 3 months. Like, okay, you care about getting an extra 30 cents every 3 months. Ridiculous. Just always put never. It looks terrible if you do actually use anything else other than that. And then for your hourly rate, just put your hourly rate as whatever it is on your profile. Simple. And if it's fixed price, I like to just match whatever their fixed price is or go a little bit below it. That's it for that section. Don't overthink that part. And if you're applying for a job which you have a specialized profile on, you could do that. So for example, I have an AI integration one. that I'm working on because I'm about to do a 0 to 10K challenge on my YouTube channel. So you will see that soon. So if I was applying to AI integration, I'll do that. If I was applying to video editing, I'll do that. By the way, with this video editing profile, I took this brand new profile from 0 to 9.7K in less than 47 days, I believe. So like this shit works, trust me. And that's it. That's how you send proposals. I would send 10 of these a day. If you send 10 of these a day, pretty much guaranteed that you're going to get some messages back and you're probably going to land some clients because you're using a lot of personalization. And if I show you an example, as an example, if I go to a job post, because I've spent like 100 grand this year on Upwork probably, right? If I look at some of the people that have applied to my job, look at what you can, this is what it looks like from the client's perspective when you apply. They only see like the first little paragraph. Like immediately, I know this is ChatGPT. Immediately, I know this is probably bullshit. Immediately, I know this is probably, you know, ChatGPT. Even this one, he's using a Loom video, but it looks like he's using ChatGPT because it's got all these like bells and whistles and emojis. It looks ridiculous, right? Keep it professional. This is, you know, I'm not even gonna watch this, but you get my point. And then when they click on, they can see the full thing, right? And the rest of this is a ChatGPT message. So it kind of like, what's the point in doing personalization and then doing some ChatGPT? It just doesn't make any sense. But this is what it looks like from the client's perspective. This is why it's also important to have a sick profile. But if you don't know how to do that, you can go watch, you know, my other YouTube videos. And if you want to know like a really in-depth video on how to send the Loom videos, I actually have this, went from 0 to 10K with Loom videos. And I actually will put that somewhere here so that you can check it out. Okay, that's a live tutorial on how to send proposals. It's pretty self-explanatory. A lot of people overcomplicate Upwork and make it sound like it's really difficult. Honestly, if you just have a good profile, send proposals consistently and don't be inconsistent, you're going to get some messages, you're going to get some clients. And I mean this, I've yet to meet somebody in over 10 years that is not sent 10 proposals a day for 30 to 90 days and not landed clients. It's almost impossible. Like mathematically, it's almost impossible for you to not do that. And you can do this. I believe in you. And if you want some more one-to-one help, you can click the link in the description. But I hope this has been helpful. Drop me a comment as well. Like if you feel like I missed something or you have any questions about what I said today, drop me a comment. Like I actually respond to the comments. It's me. It's not like some, you know, assistant or whatever. But I'll see you in the next video. I hope this was helpful. Peace.